Hi everyone, Elaine Matthews here again. Thank you so much for joining me once again on Elaine's Extreme Paranormal channel. Today is a rather special show, and right now I want to warn all adults, don't let your kids watch this, please. Don't let them watch this show because there's some rather dangerous information in it. I do not want to give anyone any ideas of trying any of this stuff, but I want to warn you adults. If you find your kids are getting involved in this stuff, take action because it's really getting ridiculous. That's why this program is called The Games Some People Play. And I'm serious. Some of these so-called games are really ridiculous. You thought the Ouija board was bad, being passed off as an innocent parlor game. Well, wait until you hear some of these. They'll curl your hair. That's why I'm saying, please, adults, if you have any kids in the room, usher them out now, please. And I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that. Okay, hopefully you've got your kids out of the room now. If you haven't, well, the choice is yours. It's entirely up to you. However, I do have a disclaimer on here that I will not be responsible if anyone tries any of these. I will not be held responsible if anyone gets injured by any of these. So, be forewarned. Okay, we've heard of a lot of these silly games that some of the young people are playing today. And believe me, some of them are way out of touch with reality. There's one here called the Three Kings Ritual. And they say that what they want is a very large, empty, quiet room, preferably without windows. If windows exist, you may need to be able to cover them to ensure total darkness. And they say that you need a pack of candles. You'll only use one if all goes well. Supposedly, a lighter, a bucket of water, a mug, a fan, 2 large mirrors, 3 chairs, an alarm clock, an active charged cell phone, a loved one willing to follow the rules and go along with you in all the stupidity, a small toy or object from your own childhood. Now, that's just the prerequisites. Wait till you hear the details of this silly game. I'm not going to give all the information on these either, folks. Simple reason being that if your kids happen to come across this channel and watch it if you're not around, I'm not giving all the information away. So, just a warning, if they do happen to watch it when you're not around, I'm not giving all the details. I'm just telling you mainly about these silly things and their names. Now it says that you're to start your setup around 11 p.m. You're supposed to place 1 chair in the center of the room facing north. And according to instructions, this is very important. You're to place the other 2 chairs exactly to the left and the right facing your throne. The distance between your throne and the chairs representing your queen and fool should be about the length of your arm to each side, more or less, according to the instructions. You place the 2 large mirrors on the queen and fool chairs, left and right of you, facing you and each other. You're supposed to try your best to have them stand at a 90-degree angle, or you may get more or less than 3 kings, supposedly. Oh boy, honestly. And according to instructions, if you sit on your throne facing straight ahead, you should be able to perceive your own reflection in each of the 2 mirrors without actually having to turn your head nor your eyes in order to do so. If you see your own reflection, then you've done it right, according to this. So you place the bucket of water and the mug in front of you, just barely out of reach. Place the fan behind you, turn it on, and leave it on. Then turn off the lights, leave the door open, go to your bedroom, and take a nap. Isn't that brilliant? Well, you set your alarm clock for 3:30 a.m. You turn off the lights, holding your power object, and sleep with this power object in your hand, supposedly. Well, what happens once you begin the ritual at 3:30 a.m.? I won't bother with all the remaining silly details. And I didn't say during the setup which chair was classed as the queen, which chair was classed as the fool. That's because it supposedly is the participant's job to find out, and from their point of view, you are either their queen or their fool too. Hence the ridiculous name, the Three Kings. However, okay, moving right along here, here's another one. I'm sure you've heard of this one. The Bloody Mary Challenge. This is the silly so-called game where people go into the bathrooms with a candle. And of course, the lights must be out. They chant the phrase Bloody Mary 3 times, and she's supposed to come and scratch them after being conjured. Now, wasn't that a brilliant game? You look in a bathroom mirror and say this name 3 times and expect to be scratched. I mean, gee, if I want to be scratched, all I've got to do is go out into my garden, for goodness sakes, do some weeding, and some of the bushes and stuff will scratch me while I work. Not that I go out intending to be scratched, but this silly so-called game, that's their intent. That's the goal of their game. And next we come to another one here, this other silly thing called Charlie Charlie. You cross 2 pencils on a piece of paper to make a plus sign with yes in 2 corners and no in 2 corners printed on it. The idiocy begins with asking Charlie twice if he will play with them. The participants then ask questions similar to what they would ask while using a Ouija board. When they finish, they chant, Charlie, Charlie, can we stop? There are numerous versions of this ridiculous so-called challenge. Each one as ridiculous as this one. It just makes no sense. Now, some people say they have tried this so-called game and have been terrified by it. Others say absolutely nothing happened. Others just roared laughing. Well, you name it. Now here's another one. That's called Candyman. Now to me, Candyman's a song. I remember when that song first came out, for goodness sakes. In fact, used to even sing along with it. Well, this so-called game or challenge is the same as Bloody Mary, but they chant Candyman 5 times. And the object is that the spirit is supposed to come to you and slit your throat. Isn't that a brilliant so-called game to play? Someone wants their throat slit, so they call for Candyman. And here's one that's really, really sick. It's called Baby Blue, Blue Baby. They stand in the bathroom with the lights off, candle on. They hold their arms out as though they're about to receive a baby in their arms. And they repeat Blue Baby 13 times. Excuse me. It's supposed to make an invisible baby die, according to the instructions. The object of this foolishness is to flush the dead baby down the toilet before the mother comes in. Can you make any sense of it? I sure as heck can't. It's absolute stupidity. It's stupidity. It's foul, as far as I'm concerned. But that's one of the so-called games the kids are playing today. Excuse me, sorry. And then there's another one. It's called Charlotte's Web. Excuse me again. And it's supposed to tell you how to summon a ghost girl and hopefully not die from it. Supposedly, 2 participants turn out the lights and they say, do you want to play Charlotte's Web? They don't use a candle, they use a flashlight, because if they use a candle, it's supposed to make her angry because supposedly she died from a fire. Excuse me, sorry about that. They offer a child's toy to her when she supposedly appears in the mirror. The tall tale is that if she takes the toy, she turns around and leaves. She's satisfied. If not, she kills the participants. Something else that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, these so-called games with the death wishes, they make no sense. It's ridiculous. And then we have another one here. Oh, this one is really something else as well. It's called the 11 Miles Challenge. Oh, I'm sorry. The participant is supposed to drive down a specific stretch of road for 11 miles, searching for something alone at night. You are supposed to drive out literally to the middle of nowhere and look for supposed signs that depict what you're looking for, such as fame, wealth, etc. Then turn on to that stretch of road. When I say signs, I don't mean road signs. I mean, according to the instructions, if you see the leaves on the trees glittering a bit, that's supposed to signify wealth. So you turn up that road if there's a road there. That kind of a thing. So you turn onto that stretch of road. You're supposed to drive for 11 miles down that road, experiencing more and more hassles and dangers as you drive each mile. And for example, they say that on the 9th mile that your car will conk out, everything will go dead on it, and then you're supposed to do a certain thing to get the car started up again, some silly ritual. And then you keep driving, and then if you've successfully finished the 11th mile, you're supposed to be able to start off right back, or be right back where you started off from, and apparently get your wish of what you were seeking for during these 11 miles, if you're going to get it. Excuse me. Now this next one is really rather silly as well. It's called the wall. Using a blank wall, participants fill a bowl with water, like standing in front of a blank wall is what I'm referring to. Participants fill a bowl with water and place 5 pieces of food attractive to cats on the floor. These food items are covered over with plastic cups or throwaway plastic drink glasses that are solid, you can't see through them. And then they place 5 more at random. The female fills the bowl with water, then she pricks her finger to add her blood to it. Brilliant. Then the two of them leave, 2 people, a male and a female. Okay, I should have said that when I started. The tall tale is that these people must be strangers, not friends. They must be strangers, have not met each other before. So anyway, the male leaves the room, then the female fills the bowl with the water, excuse me, pricks her finger to add her blood to it. She puts the food down on the floor, covers them with these silly glasses, and then she goes out. She and the male leave, and the tall tale is that a demonic cat will enter the room to eat the food if he's satisfied. They're supposed to leave for 6 hours. And then when they come back, they chant some silly saying that they read from a piece of paper. When I saw the silly thing, I couldn't even understand what they were saying, and I wouldn't even bother trying because the whole thing is silly anyway. Well, then they uncover the area where the cups were placed, putting the bits of cat food into the bowl. Supposedly, the demonic cat did not eat it, so they face the danger of the cat coming and scratching them or biting them, whatever. Well, that's just some brilliant game. Ay, ay, ay. Then we have what they call the 4 corners game. 4 participants to this silly thing. They use what they call an empty house, and yet in the demo that I watched, it was fully furnished. I'm presuming that they mean empty by just no one else but them being there. The participants then say their names 3 times, turn all the lights off, and then each idiot goes to a corner. Well, the leader of these 4 counts to 3. All the participants rotate corners again, supposedly expecting one of them to disappear. Each one knocks on a wall a set number of times after rotating corners. And then they're supposed to say their names in reverse, according to the leader who announced this silly so-called game, and yet in the demo, no one even did that. A hand clap supposedly stops this silly game, and the lights are turned back on. And if no one's disappeared, well, then I guess you've been successful in your quest and you've won the game. Heaven only knows. It just does not make sense. None of it does. Then we have musical chairs, alone. You're supposed to have with you a match, empty room with a single chair, and this is supposed to be done at midnight. Oh, how thrilling. I can just hardly wait. Well, the person strikes the match and parks his or her fanny on the chair when the music stops on its own, supposedly. The song that is played is Tiptoe Through the Tulips. If the chair is tipped over, the ghost wins. But if you manage to light your match, park your butt, then you supposedly win. And if the music doesn't stop on its own, well, I guess nobody wins. Oh, talk about ridiculous. And here's another one that's just as ridiculous. It's called dry bones. The participant is supposed to beat a demon in order to collect material things he or she wants. Part of this insanity, believe it or not, consists of the person lying on the floor and inviting the demon into their home. Well, adults, you and I both know, not a wise thing. Ever, ever, ever is it wise to invite a demon into your home. But that's what these kids are doing in this stupid game. So, what the outcome of this is, I don't even know. I didn't even bother to watch the remainder of it because I just found it so ridiculous. And as I say, even if I had watched the final, I wouldn't give all the info anyway because I'm not giving any kids any stupid ideas. Then we have what they call the Veronica ritual. A Bible, a candle, a pair of scissors, and some red ribbon. 2 participants in this nonsense. And again, it's done in the bathroom. They must have some outlook on life, and so many of them are done in the bathroom. Well, what they do is wrap the scissors blades with the ribbon, place them in the Bible in a specified position. We'll talk about an insult to a Bible. They repeat Veronica's name 9 times, like she's supposed to answer their questions about love or death. If she doesn't like your questions, then she supposedly takes the scissors out of the Bible and kills you. Another brilliant, brilliant game. I don't know. Whoever thinks these fool things up. But there you go. And here's another one. It's called Jeff the Killer Summoning. And this actually, believe it or not, is done in the bedroom, not the bathroom. And while the person is there, they're holding a butcher knife. Isn't that brilliant? The person holding the butcher knife is in bed, covers himself or herself over with the blanket, and calls for Jeff the Killer 3 times. And then they're supposed to wait to see what happens. The rest of this insanity, I will not even bother mentioning, but that's what it's called. That's what they do. And then we have this other foolish thing. Don't let the name fool you. They call it Repla Snatus. R-E-P-L-E-H for the first name, S-N-A-T-A-S for the second. Literally, all it is, it spells out Satan's helper in reverse. As if Satan never helps anybody. What a pile of idiocy. The object of this stupidity is to go to a murdered girl's website and perform certain tasks that she will give you in order to have someone that you hate die. I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, I do not know where this world is coming from. It's getting where it's coming from, where it's going. I don't know where all these games are coming from is what I should have said. But it's stupid. I don't even call them games. I call them satanic idiocy. And I urge you to warn your kids about these things and don't let them try it. At least not in your presence. If they try it on their own, it's their problem. But like I say, that's why I'm not giving all the outcomes of these foolish so-called games and challenges. Sure, there are some challenges that come out there that can be kind of fun and comical and don't cause any harm. Such as the challenge with the cold bucket of water over your head, you know, and that was supposed to help to support needy cause, worthwhile cause. Excuse me, sorry about that. But these things, they make no sense. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do a special little program on it. I know it's not a long program, but please, adults, I warn you, don't let your kids play around with these fool things. Don't let them get involved if you can possibly stop it. And that's why I asked you at the start of this show not to allow your kids to watch this show. If you do want them to watch it, by all means, that's your choice, it's your prerogative. But please make sure that they watch the show with you. Okay, thank you so much for coming to the show tonight. I appreciate it. And I hope you'll pass this information along to some other adults who just might be able to save their kids from some problems. I appreciate your coming. Give us a like if you will. Would appreciate it. Pass the information along to others if you would. and keep safe. Take care now. Bye-bye. God bless.